Hey guys, what is going on here? It's Joe here with a chapter 862 One Piece review. Actually, no, wait, how did I say that? No, chapter 862 review of One Piece. Yeah, that sounds a lot better, right? So, obviously, we had the break last week, so this is pretty much this chapter. I'd say, before even reading it, I had high hopes and, I wasn't disappointed. So, without any delay, let's get right into it. So, the chapter pretty much starts off with Luffy pretty much he's after everything he's been through, with the whole fight with Cracker and then being captured by Big Mom and then waiting for Sanji at, pretty much after the whole enraged army thing. He hasn't had any sleep, and with the upcoming chapters, this is probably the best time for him to get that shot eye. And to be honest with you, I don't really blame him. And he's been through a lot, and the sleep is well deserved for him. So moving on from that, we then see Sanji being Sanji, and at this point, he actually might mess up this whole plan. He's way too into it. It's as if he's forgotten that Pudding is actually trying to kill him. So at this point, he actually needs to focus, because if not, he might die. Luffy and Cole might die. Even his family might die. I know, even though he's quite reluctant to save them. At this point, he doesn't really have a chance, because Sanji being Sanji, he's just a nice guy. And if there is one person I do feel sorry for out of this whole debacle, it is probably the guy that made the cake, because that is one nice looking cake. Probably took him weeks, maybe even months to even prepare for design. And knowing how this whole arc is going to turn out, that's just going to come crashing down. So I kind of feel bad for him. At the same time, I kind of don't, because he's probably in on the whole killing the Vince Smoke Sanji Straw Hat thing. So yeah. So moving on from that, we then get Big Mom and the Vince Smokes. She's pretty much at this point preparing to kill the Vince Smokes then and there. I think the only thing that's stopping her is pretty much she just wants to eat her cake. She just wants the whole ceremony over and done with it, and she doesn't even care. She can just, I think if it wasn't up for the whole wedding thing, she probably would have killed him there and there. But I think, Big Mom being the kind person she is, she's waiting for the right moment. So we then see Yonji. He pretty much compliments Sanji, and you say, Sanji, he's a lucky guy. He gets to marry Pudding. If anything, out of all the Vince Smokes, obviously bar Sanji and Reiju, of course, if there is one Vince Smoke I've kind of taken a liking to, it is probably Yonji. Now, I wouldn't say he's like the funniest, or well, he is probably one of the funniest characters out of this arc. I wouldn't say he's relatable, but at the same time, he's not on the asshole level of his brothers and his dad. I'd say out of everything, he's okay, I guess, even though deep in his heart he's a douchebag like the rest of his family. But at the same time, I like him more than the rest. So Ichiji and Yonji do remind him that you're crazy, this Big Mom's daughter. And then Ichiji kind of reminds him that, at this point, Sanji, after the whole marriage ceremony, he's basically going to become a subordinate of Big Mom's. So at this point, being royals that they are and owning their own kingdom, they're not really, I don't really see the Vince Smokes as being subordinates to anyone. Even a Yonko, they prefer working side by side, and that's their personality, that's the way they prefer to work. So kudos to them, they prefer, I'd say they have a very good business acumen. They instead of just let's just benefit like in the way Capone did, they're working side by side. So not only they benefit, it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship. So one person benefits from the other, kind of like how Big Mom is taking a clone army, and then they get the pretty much I wouldn't say protection of the Big Mom crew, but something along those lines. So anyway, at this point, Reiju's pretty much content that, they're all gonna die, and she just couldn't she just couldn't care less at this point, because she's just content with it. And she's just like, oh, well, whatever. German needs to be put under, 6 feet under anyway, so it doesn't really mean much to her. So one thing that did surprise me though was how fast this pacing was for the whole arc. The pacing for this chapter was, I would say it's bad. I'd say it's quite good. It's quite good. Obviously we did find out a few months ago how, the whole thing is being kind of not sped up, but the pacing has increased. Especially we're going to be going to Reverie in Wano this year. So to see the unveiling this week, in this chapter was surprising to say the least. But good. We're getting to, well, I wouldn't say climax already of the arc. Probably, maybe. Not for me to say, but at this moment I feel that we are. Anyway, moving on from that, he pretty much, Sanji pretty much unveils pudding, and this is pretty much the point where I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen now? And Older, as being older, throws in a complete curveball, and he pretty much sees pudding's third eye, and he's like, wow, that's beautiful. He compliments her, and throwing everyone, including the reader, off guard. It's like, wow. And she pretty much falls on her knees and she completes to tear up. Now I'm thinking, is this part of the plan? Because Katakuri kind of saw this happening, and I was like, okay. But the one thing that really shocked me though was, the whole backstory thing. At first, we were introduced to Pudding, and we thought she was a good character. The whole Lola thing, we thought she was good at heart. Then the whole kidnapping Reiju thing and kind of almost killing her changed our minds, and now we're back to square one again with this. And it seemed like, she was a genuine person, okay, nice, but she was kind of driven to madness by the other Big Mom. I'm assuming her other kids, maybe, or other kid. I don't know whether it was Big Mom's kids, but anyway, they kind of bullied her, calling her ugly, Three Eyes monster, and that kind of drove her to madness, which I'm sure anyone would with Three Eyes, I guess. That was sarcasm, I'm sorry. Anyway, like I said, it was a complete curve. I didn't even see this coming, but Sanji used his one weakness in his favor, which was very smart, because most of the time it's the other way around. Someone is using Sanji's kindness against him, and obviously results in his downfall. So I'm pretty happy that for once it's actually turned the other way around, and Sanji doesn't like to use violence unless he has to completely. So everyone is like, what? Big Mom is like, just shoot this guy. Montdor is like, why hasn't she done it? And we get a cool panel of Sanji dodging a bullet from Katakuri. Now, this is probably one of my favorite moments in the arc. I hope the anime doesn't butcher this, for goodness sake. Please don't. It looked so cool. Maybe it's just me, but I thought, the whole observation haki. But one thing I did catch was, how did Katakuri not see that coming? Like, if this guy can see into the future, how could he not predict that he was going to dodge that bullet? Maybe it's just me. Maybe there's certain limitations to his power, but to be honest, this was probably one of the most surprising parts. And if that wasn't like the most surprising part, the next one was the whole Judge at this point was obviously, like, what the hell's going on? Why was a priest shot? And Reiju, obviously, who was obviously in on it as well, even she was surprised. And at this point I'm thinking, the whole red flag with Katakuri was, he can't do anything. And I was wondering, why couldn't he be able to do anything? Because this guy's a Yonko commander, how can he not do anything? And he said no way to stop this. Now, if anything, in the heat of a moment, that's nothing you want to hear from a Yonko commander, that they can't do something. Which is just, like, especially if the way this arc has been going, and the way we hyped up, I might make a figure on this later, but this is something that I don't think a lot of fans will be happy about. If it's thinking the way, if I think it's the way it's gonna end up, I don't think a lot of people will be happy. But the chapter kind of ends on a pretty funny note. We get a cool panel of Luffy eating the Big Mom's cake. Now, I think there might be 3 strikes to this at the whole Big Mom thing. The first strike being eating the cake. Eating her cake, that will obviously piss her off. The second strike being eating her opening tomato baka box, or however you pronounce it, that will obviously piss her off. And the first strike being the whole Mother Caramel photo, which I think will probably be the nail in the coffin for pretty much the whole arc. I think those like the three strikes I see happening. So the first strike is obviously down now, Luffy eating the cake, which I think you just don't do that, especially to Big Mom. We know how much she loves cake. The second one being opening tomato baka box, which will infuriate her. And then the third one being someone, you just know that it's going to be something stupid, and it's just going to be so tense. But yeah, that's where the chapter ends. And overall, I'd give a solid 8 out of 10. And it's a pretty decent chapter, especially after the break. I had decent hopes for this, and I wasn't disappointed as per usual. One Piece lately, this arc has been very, 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 very solid. I can't wait to see most of these panels, most of these moments animated. So very solid chapter. Like I said, 8 out of 10. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Hope you can leave a like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you next time. I'll try and do hopefully if I can on time, another review for the next chapter, or maybe another manga maybe. But One Piece for the moment, I'll probably just stick with this. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, leave a like and subscribe.